already know that a lot of people are gonna have issues with the Chuck fight being so low, but they need to understand that the truth hurts, and the truth, people who look to Bruce Lee fights and say that the Chuck fight is number one is like people who watch UFC because of Conor McGregor. People that will be referred to as casuals.
Perfect.
Grandmaster Jesse from Mexican Martial Arts. How are you doing today, sir?
To be honest, I'm a little bit tired. I did not realize that we were in different time zones, and I did not expect to hear my computer ringing this early in the morning. I don't know if we're actually recording yet, but do you mind if I finish getting ready real quick? I'll take like a few seconds.
No, you're fine. I'll do the intro while you do that. I got you.
Right.
All right. So, from what I've seen of Grandmaster Jesse's channel, let's break down some of Bruce Lee's best fight scenes. S tier is the very best. F tier is the worst. E
Wait,
tier,
I feel like I have to interrupt. I'm not sure if you gave me a proper introduction. I want to make sure people know who I am.
Here, go ahead. You're
First
good.
and foremost,
I'll let you take it.
My name is Jesse. I'm the founder and Grandmaster of MMA, Mexican Martial Arts. I'm very happy to be here today. Okay, now we can proceed. Thank you.
Okay, so the fight scene that included the man, the myth, the legend, Chuck Norris. Are those your...
What's the Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris, yeah.
Chuck, there we go. Chuck.
It's that
All
white
right.
dude, yeah.
That's right. The pigmentally challenged individual. You can't say white anymore. That's offensive.
I'm a fan of the Chuck fight. I could kind of lean in a bunch of different ways with the Chuck fight, though. There's some cool things about it. If you had to rank it, where would you put it?
One of the things that I think is very respectable about this fight is the fact that he beat someone with a big name. On all his other movies, he's fighting fools that you never heard of. Just some random fool from a factory, somebody from some fight island or whatever. But in this case, it's Chuck Norris. So we have to consider...
Norris. Yeah.
Exactly. Mr. Total Gym. We have to consider all of his successes, all of his victories, everything that he has ever done. And that's now under the umbrella of Bruce Lee killing that fool. So I think it's a big win and moves him way up in the pound for pound rankings. I think that it's a very significant win for Bruce Lee. Plus, I have personal attachments to this fight because as a young child starting in the martial arts, it was very important for me to establish my flexibility and to work on my, what do they call it? The butt chain or whatever, the posterior chain. So there's that one stretch, I don't know if you're going to show it later in post. I started doing it when I was like a young man so that I could work on my kick. I almost kicked my fan. Look at
That's pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. That's good. You give it a B. It's honestly not my favorite. It's a little slow paced. Like, obviously it has the legitness of Chuck Norris and it has the symbolism of the cat. There's like the one scene where like the cat's like moving the ball of yarn around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do see that as playing with his food before he just ends Chuck Norris. So Chuck fight, B tier. I think I agree with that. I can get behind that. Okay, so the next one. Do you remember the dungeon scene where they're in the cave?
Yes, with the guards. Yes.
With the guards, yeah. So I actually kind of think that one's a little bit of like hot trash. I actually have the dungeon scene at D tier. Hey, Grandmaster.
Sorry, I had to let out some frustrations real quick. Did you say that you would put that at F tier?
Maybe not F tier. I might even go D tier though. But I'm more than welcome to hear out the Grandmaster. What's up? What you got?
Nothing. Just that's probably one of the best fight scenes of all time. We just touched on the Chuck Norris fight and the fact that in my opinion, that really elevates Bruce's status as a fighter because you have to consider everyone that Chuck has defeated. Well, in the guard fight, I don't know if you noticed, Jackie Chan's in there. And Bruce Lee killed him too.
Is Jackie Chan actually in that fight scene?
He's definitely in. Why, you think you couldn't tell? They all look the same, right? Is this going to be a recurring thing? Because I don't want to end up on Twitter.
No. Nobody needs to tweet about us. No, I actually didn't know that he was in that fight scene.
One of my strongest subjects is MMA math. And it's the same thing with Chuck. It's the same thing with Jackie Chan. We have to consider these victories for Bruce and the significance of them. This is one of my favorite scenes. It's very dynamic. For me, this would be S tier. Easy.
You think it's better than the Chuck fight?
Easily.
I'll give it A tier.
A tier? I could see that. That's fair.
It's a hesitant A tier for me, but I respect your opinion. You're my guest. We'll go A tier. Already, we've talked about the Chuck fight. We're going to talk about another like super famous one in the Kareem fight. The Kareem fight for me.
You went Jackie Chan on me. Your audio's not with your video.
Okay. We've got like a 6'13" Kareem, right? Who's got some kicks that are like not terrible. They're not bad kicks. He uses like different elements to show how a smaller guy would fight a bigger guy. Utilize a little bit of the ground game, you know what I mean? He takes him down sometimes. I think this is one of the better fight scenes out there.
And another thing that I think is important, we hear all this talk today. I don't know where it started. I don't know why people are feeding into it, but everyone's always talking about LeBron James. I bet if LeBron was in the UFC, he would beat fools. I bet LeBron could beat this guy. I don't know why they're talking about it. I don't get it, but this puts an end to that right here. Oh, you want to see how LeBron would do? Watch this. It's LeBron and Mighty Mouse. That's all you need to see.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think Mighty Mouse beats LeBron by toe hold. That's just me.
Easy. I completely agree with that. It's like a toe bar. You grab the whole thing, a little fool grabbing that big old foot, put the toe bar on. So imagine, Bruce Lee did that. You touched on that. You mentioned the ground game, and a lot of people disrespect Bruce Lee, and they said he wouldn't do good in the UFC. He didn't have a ground game. He didn't know BJJ. He's the one that started it in this movie. He killed Kareem on the ground with the choke.
Yep.
No gi.
He did it with yellow spats on. He was like the first guy to rock that no gi uniform.
I didn't even put that together. Those were straight up spats.
Those were spats.
Wow.
That's crazy.
He was a BJJ practitioner before they existed.
Yep. It's called Bruce Lee Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, dang.
So what are we thinking? What's the Kareem fight?
I'm going to have to say as high as it goes. It's like people when they talk about Muhammad Ali, how it even transcends the sport. There's so many important social and pop culture elements that are intertwined. I think it has to be at the top.
That is true. That's one of those moments that like made martial arts something that like everybody could be a part of. I like it. I'm into it. Okay. All right. So the next one we're going to talk about is the final fight from Big Boss. The one that's like in the front lawn with the tiny little bitty swimming pool.
Yes. Plain and simple, this is something that I will refer to as kung foolishness. There's a lot of goofy things going on here. There's a lot of crouching tiger, hidden wires that, as a true fan of the martial arts, I don't appreciate. If I want to see that nonsense, I'll go watch a Marvel movie. I don't know if you remember how the fight ended where the bad guy threw that knife and then Bruce Lee put his pata out and then it just like flipped back and landed perfectly in his stomach. It was crazy. That would have never happened in real life. I've said this once or twice. I know there's conflicting opinions on it, but I felt like that ending was faker than Conor versus Cowboy. Even as a young child, I never could take this fight seriously because by the time he got there, I was like, this is the main guy? The fool looks like he's fighting his dad. All these other guys were young and they were strong and virile and they had these weapons. And now he's fighting this old dude. It was like, it's only a matter of time until he beats him. It never felt like he was in danger. It was too easy. It wasn't exciting.
It'd be like if Spider-Man like fought Doc Ock and then the Green Goblin and then like all these other dudes and then the boss battle he had to fight like his uncle.
I'm sorry, I don't know who those are. I don't watch cartoons.
No, the live action ones. Have you?
Or is that any different?
So the final fight from Big Boss, not the best. His early work, right? So I'm thinking D tier.
I agree.
D tier. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, boards don't hit back. Probably one of the most commented things on my entire Instagram, except they replace boards with bottles, so can't really get past that one. But that doesn't mean it's a bad scene. I actually really like boards don't hit back. They utilize slow-mo a lot better than I think they do in some of the other ones, and they like make contact. It's got like a Mortal Kombat vibe. I was a big Mortal Kombat kid growing up. This is a pretty high one for me. What about you?
So there's a lot of emotion packed into this particular fight. I remember sometimes I would get a little frustrated with it because there was a lot of stop and go. He would hit him and then they would have to wait. He would hit him and then he would have, I think at some point there was halftime. Like they kept stopping over and over again and it was kind of awkward to me.
It's kind of like Karate Kid, like that final tournament where they're like, come on, man, come on. And then they go pop, pop, pop. And then they have to back up.
Yeah. I also figured you would like that one a lot because of the use of the sidekick at the end. Very dramatic.
That is true. He hit him with that sweet chin music. That's Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. I got him right there. I don't know if you can see him. Let me get him. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. We're probably going to get copyright claim. You might want to cut that part out.
Boards don't hit back for me. I could give... Okay, so if in a perfect world, I would drop the dungeon fight down to B with Chuck Norris. And boards don't hit back goes to A.
There was a moment, I don't know if you remember, where Bruce Lee did this like backflip where somebody caught his leg and he went like that.
He kicked him in the face.
Yeah, but if you pause it, you know, back in the day when they made it in the 70s, they were like, oh, people can't pause it and look at it real close and zoom in. Well, when you do that, you can see it's a stunt man. It's clearly not Bruce Lee. And you can see he has like a harness coming out of his shirt. Even the stunt man had to use a harness. You're going to put someone in there, he can't even do it?
I was going to say maybe the stunt man was Jackie Chan, but Jackie Chan would have been able to do that. Boards don't hit back is B tier next to Chuck Norris.
Look, it's up to you. I will say this. Since I think you like boards don't hit back as much as I like the dungeon fight. So I think they could both be A.
Okay, that's fair. Yep, I think I agree with you. Boards don't hit back, A tier. This one, Bruce Lee goes a little bit dark for this one. Okay, you ready? Ice Factory. I actually really liked Ice Factory. The ice squishes the dude, you know what I mean? And then he's like got the ice pick and he uses a bunch of different elements and they're switching grounds and he's like got the high ground and he goes all Star Wars. This is actually one of the first movies of Bruce Lee's that I didn't see the fight scene first. I saw the movie all the way through for the first time that I saw the fight scene. It's a little dark. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. That one was a little bit dark for me as well. There was a moment when Bruce, it was like the beginning of the fight. He like threw a hatchet at somebody's dome, and then he starts stabbing people with this filero, and then he starts like he picked up like a saw at some point, and you know, like I could appreciate that in this time and place. Like I know if I watch a Steven Seagal movie, he's gonna be hitting fools in the head with like pool tables and like baseball bats and stuff like that, but. Sure. One of the things I like about Bruce Lee is he usually takes the higher road. He usually gets the weapon and throws it away. This one, it felt kind of out of his element. And I understand because this was Bruce Lee's first movie. And his first two, he didn't have anything to do with like the making of it or a big say in the choreography. That wasn't until his last three. So I think there was a lot of things that weren't really pure Bruce in here. So yeah, it was a little uncharacteristic of Bruce for my liking. There were some Three Stooges moments as well. I don't know if you remember that part where he socked that one fool and he went through the wall and it was like a cutout. That part was funny.
Tom and Jerry, yeah.
Definitely. So I mean, you could look at that as goofy and think that it makes like the fight illegitimate. I actually thought it was funny. It kind of goes in the Jackie Chan direction where it's like more funny than actual martial arts.
Yeah, right. I'm a big Jackie Chan guy, you know. I stick behind my Jackie Chan. I'm probably a bigger Jackie Chan guy than I am a Bruce Lee guy, I'm not going to lie.
I think we could probably wrap this up right now. To be honest, I think we have enough footage.
Hold on.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Sensei said had to use the bathroom. What the?
Yo, what'd you say to me?
Oh, hey, you mean full Jackie Chan?
I'm freaking Jackie Chan you right now. People are like, oh, what do you keep for home defense, Seth? A freaking step ladder.
Hey, John Jones has a double barrel shotgun and Sensei Seth has a ladder.
All right, so Ice Factory, better or worse than Chuck's fight?
I would put that at C.
Okay, right below Chuck's.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
You sound upset, but I mean.
No, you're the guest. It's fine. We're gonna do the final boss fight from Fist of Fury.
All right. For those of you at home, I believe what he means to say is the Chinese connection.
Sure.
In China, they call the movies by different things. Over here, we call it Fist of Fury, Chinese Connection, but over there in China, they call it The Big Boss, and they call it Chinese Connection, Fist of Fury, I believe. So those of you in China, I don't know if you even have internet in China, but please try to go. I'm giving you the correct way. You can, a quick Google search. I don't know if you're allowed to use Google over there.
All right, politics aside, Chinese Connection, the final fight. What do you think? I actually don't remember this one too well. If you'll like set the scene for me, you know.
I'm trying to remember what I called this in my notes. It's you are right not to fully remember it though, because it is very forgettable. Or
Ooh.
I've tried my best to forget it. It is his worst fight.
Even with the
It depends. It depends on how you look at it, because his last fight is kind of a double factor. You recognize that term, being a Kempoist. His last fight is kind of like a twofer. First, he fights the Russian fool outside, and then after that, he goes to the main fool, the Japanese fool. Can you say Japanese on here?
You just.
I don't know if that's offensive.
People don't have Google, so I think we're past that point.
There's a fight before what I consider the final fight. In the Chinese Connection, the final fight is against this samurai fool. For the sake of the conversation, I would label him as Japanese. So right before that, he fought this Russian fool. And
can you say that?
Russian?
Can you say he's Russian?
I don't. He fought this Soviet Union looking fool outside, and that was a very, very entertaining fight. That's the one where he was doing all this stuff. And to be honest, I like that fight a lot, and I think that fight's way better than the final one. The final one is where he goes in and fights the fool with the sword. I don't know about you, I don't like sword fights. Bruce Lee rolls up in there, he jumps, he grabs a 2x4 that was coincidentally up there on the
Does he have
roof.
a ponytail in this?
I don't think so. I think he just has. Hey, you're thinking of like Steven Seagal. Did you watch any of these movies?
No, I have. I've seen him.
Did you just watch like a compilation on like Mind Smash or something?
Yeah, it didn't have the audio though. It just had it had Darude Sandstorm in the background. It was just all of them playing at once. It was like back to back. Have you seen that YouTube video?
He's this guy. He has like the facial hair, and he has like, I think he's like slick back. The viewers will see. I'm sure you'll throw up the footage right here.
Okay.
I'm sure after this video you'll actually watch the fights for editing purposes, and then you'll know what's going on. So, but it was very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like I mentioned before. Kung Foolishness is I'll revisit that. It's the simple way to put it. Lots of flying around, lots of fake stuff that would never happen in real life. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as a martial artist, as a grandmaster. I'm ashamed.
We'll go final in F tier. You spoke strongly about it. You convinced me. I respect your opinion.
I do want to give something to the viewers at home. If you go on YouTube, I don't know if you've ever seen it. Something that could redeem this fight scene is somebody a long time ago did an edit of that fight scene with the samurai, and he put lightsabers in their hands, and they're fighting with lightsabers. Bruce Lee has like a nunchuck lightsaber.
That's pretty sick.
I mean, if you kind of like want to look at this fight scene, but better, you could go and watch that, and it might move up to like a D. But just for the people, a little treat at home. Plus, I don't know if you want to slide it in there. I actually did a breakdown of that fight on my channel about the lightsabers, but it's not a big deal. I also did a breakdown of Ohara and the Chuck Norris fight, but that's not a big deal. We don't need to talk about that right here.
No, yeah, we won't talk about that. It won't be right here either. So don't worry about this text that comes up over above. Okay, so Hall of Mirrors. The Hall of Mirrors fight. It's the one with all the mirrors. It's the one where the guy's got the hand thing. You know what I mean? It's a very bright scene. I like the symbolism of it a lot. The fight itself was like a little wonky. But let's hear your opinion on Hall of Mirrors.
It's very disappointing, as it's, you know, it's allegedly like Bruce Lee's pinnacle. You know, it's his big feature film, it's his big moment to shine. And I just always thought that it was strange that he went to this fight island, and there's all these crazy martial artists, strong martial artists, dangerous, scary fools, and basically what he did was he went to the island and he fought the island's Dana White. Like, he went there and he fought the old fool. It's like that island's Dana White picked up a claw and he's like, I'm ready to fight Bruce Lee. And
I'm here.
There was never a moment where I was like on the edge of my seat. Like, Bruce is in danger. There's a lot of anticipation here. It was like pathetic. It was only a matter of time. When I was watching this with the mirrors, it made me uncomfortable because I saw what Bruce was going through in that moment, and me putting myself inside of his shoes, I was like, it made me take a look at myself.
Maybe Bruce Lee wasn't fighting some other dude with claws. Maybe Bruce Lee was fighting himself.
Are you talking about like Fight Club? If you remember the very ending of it, the way that fool dies, he's like hanging the spear. So Bruce Lee will be over here, and you can see in the footage, he does this thing, and then he kicks him, and then the fool, the way he gets kicked, you can see, I can't see myself. All right, there we are. You can see the way he gets kicked, he falls like this way.
Yeah.
And you can see his momentum, his direction. He's clearly going to be on the floor. He's going to do like a judo tap. He's going to go like that. But then when it cuts, he's not on the floor. He's up here, hanging. So he goes from being down here to being up here, and the pole sticking out of his stomach. I don't even know if you can see. Oh, dang. We're very low budget over here.
Yeah. They turned the lights off in the movie?
That's hilarious, Sensei Seth.
So, D tier. One of my favorite scenes, the dojo scene. The one where he's like, I'm gonna fight all of you. And then Bruce is like, Are you guys gonna all try and fight me at once, or can we do like a one at a time thing? Can we set up like a contract? Like an old school UFC tournament type deal? I think that's the best part about it. Dojo scene for me though is like S tier.
It does have a lot of good elements in it, and this one is often looked to as one of the most revolutionary fight scenes of all time, because you think about most fight scenes, they cut, over shoulder, shaky cam, and this one was wide and it was continuous, and he was able to go on and on with his choreography, and it really influenced a lot of martial artists and producers. It was a very impressive way to capture that.
Plus there's like the nephew scene where like you grab your two nephews by the shirt and you're just like and you swing them around.
So I appreciate, some people would not like that, some people would hate on that. I appreciate those sort of things for comedic relief. I think Bruce Lee, you know what I think Bruce Lee had what people often refer to as like a British sense of humor. And to be honest, British humor isn't funny, but what he means by that, what they mean is the fact that it's deadpan, where you can't really tell if they're joking or not. And Bruce Lee did what he did on such a high level. Like, you watch Jackie Chan and you're busting up and you're like, he's trying to make me laugh, he's a clown. Bruce Lee, they're like, I can't tell if he's joking or not. That fool was like Andy Kaufman.
He's got like that like Chael Sonnen thing going on, where like Chael Chael doesn't act like he's in a bit, but he's like doing a bit, you know?
Yeah, Chael acts like he's an idiot and like he doesn't know anything and everything he says is nonsense and it's wrong and he's very unlikable and he has no redeeming qualities and he's he doesn't he's not entertaining. What was the point?
Like I said Dojo Scene's F tier or S. Ooh, that's close. S tier. What do you say?
There's nothing that I could point to in this fight that I don't like.
Dojo Scene S tier?
I think I have to say so.
That leaves our last one. The alley scene. Also, mind you, it's the one in the alley. So the alley scene was the one with like the nunchucks, where he fights the assortment of dudes who don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, that's one of my favorite ones.
Is it really?
I love that scene. That one has the most playback quality as far as I'm confirmed. I think something very interesting about it that always made it seem more real to me was that when you look at all his other fights, he's fighting martial artists, guards, scary dudes, bodybuilders, people with weapons. These guys were just like normal dudes that you would just find like at Walmart or something. This one, it looked like fools were actually going in there. Look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm going to tell you something that I came across in the forums.
Okay.
I have read repeatedly that I'm sure you've heard on like the set of Enter the Dragon, sometimes fools would challenge Bruce Lee to see what he was really made of, stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
Supposedly, these actors challenged Bruce Lee to a fight in the alley. This scene was not scripted. There was originally that little part in the restaurant. Then these fools got mad. They were outside eating some sandwiches. And then they started talking papas or whatever. Things got out of hand. And the director's like, hey, keep the cameras rolling. Nobody even knew. And exactly. So that might be why it looks so real. It might actually be real.
You may have just convinced me that it should be pretty high. What would you give it?
I would give it an S tier. I think it's my favorite fight scene of Bruce Lee's ever. It might be my favorite fight scene ever, period. It had everything. I think it's a perfect fight scene.
Better than the other ones?
I think so because I felt completely confident having Kareem and the dojo scene at S, but they're still not on the level of the alley scene.
Mamma mia!
It's just a different... It's next level.
It's just a different... It's a different beast, but the same animal, as Kanye would say. I think it was Kanye. Here's our final tier here. We've got S+ at the alley scene. We've got Kareem fight and dojo scene at S. We've got Dungeon and Boardstone hit back at A. We've got the Chuck fight at B. We've got Ice Factory at C. That one hurts me a little bit. That's okay. We've got, at D tier, we've got the final for Big Boss and Hall of Mirrors. And then the final for Chinese Connection. All right, guys. This is the Bruce Lee tier list of the fight scenes with Grandmaster Jesse from Mexican Martial Arts. Thank you for being on here. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him.
You can't say white anymore. That's offensive. This is getting out of hand. Hey, John Jones has a double barrel shotgun and Sensei Seth has a ladder. Or is that any different?
Okay.
I felt so mean when you were laughing and I was keeping a straight face. You the correct way. A quick Google search. I don't know if you're allowed to use Google over there, but a quick Google search. I'm trying to remember what I called this in my notes. It's That wasn't even a joke. I can't find it.
I think it was Kanye.
I'm. Okay. So, okay. So